Hello everyone. It has been 1 month since I have released my first indie game onto Steam, which you can find a link to in the description, and I am nearing the release of my first update, which brings with it a few bug fixes and a new feedback system for when you pick up items. But before that releases, I wanted to make a video covering the game's combat system and how it has evolved over the development cycle. Whenever I first made the game, the initial idea I had for the combat system was jousting. The idea is that you would attack NPC surfers head-on and attempt to hit them with a spear, as you also duck out of the way of their attacks. This was an interesting concept, but completely failed in execution. The easy maneuverability of the board, as well as your speed, make it very hard not just for an AI to intercept you and line up with you to attack, but it is equally difficult for the player to do so as well. But I kept with the idea of attacking in strafing runs with a spear. All I needed was a target that was much less maneuverable, which is where the game's most prominent enemy to this day came into play. The rafts are slow-moving enemies who, instead of stabbing back at you, will fire long-range cannons. Unlike the previous idea, these rafts don't have to move to attack you, making it much easier for the player to fight back. In order to defeat the raft, you must perform strafing runs and destroy all of the ship's sails, after which it will simply sink into the sand and you can collect all of your well-earned loot. After the rafts were added, I went on to add the first of many flying enemies. The vulture was never intended to actually be fought. Instead, they serve as an obstacle for the many boneyards in the game. Rocky, dangerous regions full of obstacles and also hidden treasure. I personally find boneyards to be the most enjoyable part of the game, as the vultures force you to go as quickly as possible through these areas, but hitting any rock means sudden death. This was especially the case early in development, as vultures used to be much more accurate at hitting their target. After that came the many bosses in the game, the first of which being the Phoenix. This boss and its minions were based off of the original jousting concept. However, due to them flying, they are not bound by the same movement limitations that an NPC surfboard would be. The Phoenix will circle the player and occasionally dive down to attack them, during which their wings become vulnerable. The second boss added to the game is the Driller. This hard-to-find boss has one of the best drops in the game, and will attempt to circle around the player, damaging them with one of their many saws. To defeat the Driller, you have to hit one of its hit points multiple times, but doing so is very difficult, given that spinning saw blades line the entire body. Its slithering motion also makes it hard to time attacks properly. The third and final optional boss that I added to the game is the Strider. The Strider has artillery guns mounted on its back and will attack the player as they draw close. To defeat the Strider, you have to attack its legs a great number of times. However, as it walks through the sand, it creates massive shockwaves that will damage you if you are too close. This forces the player to time their attacks and move at high speeds to avoid the damage. As I have worked on the game, I have come to realize that the best combat in the game is movement-based, hence why most of the bosses exploit this. Hence why the bosses all require precise timing and movements to defeat. That is all I have to cover about the combat system. If you want to learn more about the game, check out the link in the description, or check out my other videos. A minor update is coming out soon, and there are more features in the works that I will be covering in future devlogs. But until then, see you around.